Task is simple, Gary. Get that pass done.
We're working on it.
Awesome job. Bring it home.
Through the final turn in the Abu Dhabi finale, it's going to be Gary Owen coming through to win his third race of the season, but he'll come up shy in the championship. What could have been if he would have been able to put a few more races together? But it's Mick Schumacher who wins the battle before his move to F1 next season.
Hey Mike, how's it going today?
Hey Gary, nice win in Abu Dhabi. What's up?
Thanks, man. But here's the thing. I need even more money to get an F1 ride next year.
Buddy, you know I love to, but I can't make it happen.
Are you sure you can't invest any more into me? It's my only hope.
I'm sorry. It's not gonna happen. Do you have any idea what you can do?
Yeah, I have an idea. Thanks for everything.
Breaking news now from the Formula 2 scene, 7-time race winner Gary Owen shockingly announces he's leaving Formula 2 to go NASCAR racing in 2021. Quote, "I couldn't find enough sponsorship money to accomplish my goals in Formula 1, so I had to look elsewhere before it was too late," said Owen. Could this move be wasted potential, or maybe the move of his career?
Alright, Gary, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Alright, welcome to Trackhouse, man. We know you're a rookie, so let's see if we can get as much info as possible here. We got a long season ahead of us.
Awesome. Let's get to work. Hello everybody and welcome finally to our NASCAR 21 Ignition career mode. I hope you're all having a great day and hope you enjoyed that good 3.5 or so minute introduction storyline to our NASCAR 21 Ignition career mode. We are driving the number 99 Trackhouse car after a failed career towards Formula 1 there, as we were trying to make it but didn't quite have the sponsorship money, and our agent and sponsorship investor just couldn't get us more money to make it into F1. So here we are, doing some off-season testing here with this Trackhouse racing team at the Charlotte Roval. Everything actually went pretty well, so I was pretty happy with that. A very, very big learning curve to say the least here, jumping from the Formula 1 open wheel scene to the NASCAR scene, but we are up for the fight here now, as we got some good laps under our belt here at the Charlotte Roval. We of course went and tested the oval version of Charlotte over the winter as well, and overall, like I said, pretty happy with how things went. So we jumped through before into the racing aspect of this career mode episode. I'm going to show you guys all of the career mode features we have here in NASCAR 21 Ignition. So unfortunately, every single car in the career mode is equal performance. So a Rick Ware racing car is going to be just as fast as a Hendrick Motorsports car. So that's why it doesn't really matter where we start. But I went with Trackhouse as they're kind of a midfield team, and I feel like it'd be a nice place to start here now. As we check out the career mode menu here, we have all of the driver stats. So this is a huge step up in NASCAR 21 Ignition. You have every single driver stat you could possibly ever ask for from every season of their driver careers. Their earnings going to like 2015, that is, before NASCAR stopped actually showing the earnings. You have owner standings, you have team standings, you have manufacturers standings as well. All of this, Motorsport Games did an awesome job with the whole stats and standing stuff here with the career mode for NASCAR 21 Ignition. Very, very happy with what they did with that. You, of course, have team reputations and stuff here, and you can see 15% for everybody except for Trackhouse has an extra percent there. And then you see legacy stuff, and you can compare yourself to other drivers. Like right now, compared to Kevin Harvick, obviously we're nothing because we haven't ever made a Cup Series start here until today with Daytona. But there's more than just a Daytona 500. I went very hard and deep into this episode here, so there's a lot more than just a Daytona 500 to witness. But overall, very, very excited with what I'm seeing. Of course, the game right now isn't in the greatest state. There's a lot of glitches, a lot of issues. The AI have issues. You're going to see that showcased in today's episode, unfortunately. But that's just the way it goes. I'm hopeful Motorsport Games gets a lot of the AI issues fixed up specifically, so we'll see what happens. But a recap of Speed Weeks. First of all, Kyle Busch came through to win the 2021 Busch Clash. We are basing this off the 2021 season, of course, so he opens it up with a victory there at the Daytona road course. And then we have some Daytona 500 practice coming up to do here today. So I was ready to get to the track, so let's send it off to Alex.
I'm Alex Hayden. This is the Daytona International Speedway, and we're here for Daytona 500 practice. It's been months since we've seen cars on the track, and this will be the team's first opportunity to see how their hard work over the winter break will pay off. Expect to see some drafting runs amongst teammates and a few mock qualifying runs in today's session. The cars are being prepped, the drivers debriefing with their crew chiefs, and soon we'll get the cars on the track. Keep an eye on the manufacturer alliances and how well they work together in this practice. Draft practice will be key for a lot of these teams to see if their handling in the pack is where they want it, as it can make or break the opportunity to win the race on Sunday.
There you hear Alex Hayden there with the practice introduction. Now as we were ready to get used to this racetrack here at Daytona, now wanted to get a little bit of drafting practice, a little bit of practice by myself as well here as we're driving out of the garage. This is a neat little feature we found in the game that was probably a actual feature that was meant to be in the game where you could drive out of your garage, but they ended up leaving it out. But they still left the garage area available to be driven in, so very, very happy that Motorsport Games didn't take that out or patch that. Maybe they honestly miss it, I'm not sure, but hopefully they keep that in the game now for immersion purposes. It really makes it fun now. As we were on the track for the first time here today in Daytona on the weekend, there you see a visual glitch there, some damage on the car, nothing we can do about that. I didn't actually hit anything, it was just, like I said, a glitch here now. So I got some drafting practice too with some of the midfield and back marker cars. Got the 34 McDowell and his front row teammate of David Reagan, who will be full-time this season in the career mode here for NASCAR 21 Ignition here. But I was pretty happy with what I felt, and then I would end up bringing it to the pit lane here, and that was that. So then we call it a practice right there, and we were actually dead last because for some reason our lap didn't count. But now we have some Daytona 500 qualifying to get to.
We're here for Daytona 500 qualifying day. I'm Alex Hayden of MRN, here to bring you all the action. Mock runs were made in practice, but today is the day to see who has the speed, the handling, and most importantly, the steadiness of the wheel to put together a perfect lap at over 180 miles per hour. The crews have pushed the cars out to the grid, and the drivers are ready to go. This is the first real indication of who's brought the fastest race car for the most prestigious race of the season. Who will be your Daytona 500 pole sitter? Will it be another Chevy front row lockout? A rookie pole sitter? Let's get the engines fired and session started.
Ready to make our first qualifying effort here in the Cup Series. We have a decent car under our belt, some good power. Of course, every car is equal here in this career mode, so we'll get our qualifying lap underway here. 2 laps we get to try and do something here and hopefully get up towards the top 10 or even better on that front row here. Now, right to my second lap of qualifying here, and the car overall felt pretty good. I am racing on a controller for this episode because in the current state of the game, a controller feels way better than a wheel, so that's why you're seeing me using the view I am using, because it just works better for me on a controller there. But we crossed the line here in Daytona 500 qualifying, and we end up P12 in our first ever effort. So you're no longer qualifying at the back of the pack here in Daytona, thank goodness here now, as we are ready not only for the duels, but we have some Truck Series and Xfinity Series coming up here in this episode as well. But we are going to start things off with the Daytona duels here on Thursday evening. The goal was simple, but there was some issues for us here in this Trackhouse number 99 car. We actually had to have an engine change after this duel. So that means we're actually going to be starting at the back of the pack in the Daytona 500 on Sunday afternoon. So no matter what happens here, we're going to have to start in the very back anyways here. But thank goodness Motorsport Games added an option where you can actually choose how many cars are in a race, so that gave me an opportunity to implement the duels into this video here now, as very weird lighting when it comes to Daytona nighttime here now, as it looks really, really dark and there's no lights on the track when it's really shady on the front straightaway. But just at this point here in the duel, just try to keep this car in one piece, make sure we bring it home here now, and as well trying to stick with this main pack, because once they start pack racing, they start slowing each other up, and then anybody that's not in a pack and in a single file line instead, they just pull away seconds upon seconds, and that's where the AI issues really start to shine here now as we come through at a turn 4, right on the back of that number 12 of Ryan Blaney. Obviously, we don't have any teammates here. We do have an alliance teammate of Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick throughout the whole season here at Richard Childress Racing. Now, as Trackhouse is using their shop and whatnot to get their cars built and stuff. So we have at least 2 alliance teammates that we can hope to rely on and work with at points throughout this season here in our rookie season of the NASCAR Cup Series. Now, as we came through a little bit later, we had gotten up into the 14th spot up the inside of Ryan Newman here, and now we clear him out of turn 2. And can we just take a moment to just appreciate how good this game looks? It is unbelievable. But nonetheless, already close to halfway through this duel, only 8 laps I had it set to now, is we're going to actually push this 43 of Eric Jones here after getting sacked from Joe Gibbs Racing. We got past him down the front straightaway up the inside of Truex, some 3-wide racing right there with Truex, as well as the 17 of Chris Buescher up the inside of Bubba Wallace. That's our kind of rival this season, a brand new team as well compared to our Trackhouse Racing. So excited to battle them now, as I would get hooked up here with the 1 of Kurt Busch. A little bit of contact there with William Byron by accident there as we were pushing Kurt on the exit of turn 4 now, and on the exit of the corner we actually dumped the 1 of Kurt Busch, just trying to push him way too hard. Please apologize to them. I am so sorry. There you hear myself on the radio. I did not mean to do that. We ended up taking out the 10 of Almirola in the process as well. No caution came out because cautions are extremely hard to get in the current state of the game. There's no stages in the current state of the game either, unfortunately, so it's going to be an interesting race, but we come straight through to the final lap here of our duel, and we are in the top 5. It's actually Chase Elliott who wins duel number 1 over Chase Briscoe. Denny Hamlin P3, as it was a 3-car runaway, and myself and William Byron come through to round out the top 5 here in the Daytona duel, and duel number 2 that would be. So a nice effort there for us, and that would have increased our starting position, but like I said, an engine change for this car already after this duel is going to send us to the back for the Daytona 500, so that's a little bit unfortunate, and that's definitely going to leave a lot of work on the table for us, but I'm hopeful that we are going to be up to the challenge here for the first NASCAR Cup Series race we ever do now, as it looks like Martin Truex Jr. had some issues right towards the end of duel number 2, but now we have more speed weeks. Daytona with the Truck Series here, I'm using iRacing to actually showcase the trucks and Xfinity series throughout this career mode now, and you're not going to see these series every single episode, but you will be seeing them most of the episodes here now, as it was actually Chandler Smith coming through to win the first truck race of the season here in Daytona. Not by much, it was a really close finish there he had with Ryan Truex. John Hunter Nemechek's back down in the truck series there for KBM. He ends up there in 3rd place now, as we have an Xfinity series race as well. A quick highlight of that here now. Final lap on Saturday down into turns 3 and 4. Tommy Joe Martin's there on the inside pushing Ty Gibbs here, a rookie in the Xfinity series for Joe Gibbs Racing now, as it came through out of turn 4. You had Jeb Burton leading that second lane, but it wasn't going to be enough from them. It's going to be Ty Gibbs coming through to win his first Xfinity series race here in Daytona. So a great effort there by the young driver now, as it was Jeb Burton and Tommy Joe Martins there in the top 3 there, as you see the rest of the finishing order on your screen. But now it is time for the Daytona 500.
Alex Hayden here, welcoming you to the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. This historic 2.5-mile super speedway showcases some of the fastest and most intense action in all of racing. And the weather is looking absolutely beautiful here today in Daytona Beach, Florida. drivers are ready. The pre-race festivities have finished, and we're about ready to get racing. The Daytona 500 is about to be green.
Alright, boys, I'll do my best to keep the car in one piece and have a good finish today. There you hear myself on the radio to the team here now as we're getting ready to go green flag racing for the Daytona 500. Now we've jumped from open wheel racing in Formula 2, hoping for a dream in Formula 1 to now NASCAR here as we are stock car racing for the first time in our career. 50 laps at Daytona is underway here from the 40th starting position. I mentioned, obviously, earlier there is no stages currently in this state of the game, and I would expect that. That's 100% something that should be patched in, and I think it will be. But that actually completely changed how I approached this race. So obviously you're used to a guaranteed caution coming. Well, now we don't have a guaranteed caution here. As up front you actually have Kurt Busch in the number 1 car there. You see a bit of a glitch there with the replay system. I'm going to use the replay system just like I have in past games, but it might not be as much at the start of this career mode until they get the replay system actually patched up. But you're still going to see me try and implement it here and there for some key points in this race. But it was Kurt Busch leading the way. You see some AI issues right there now, but like I said, no stages right now in the state of the game. Completely changed how I was doing this race because we don't have a guaranteed caution anymore. So I'm over here all scared about damaging my car. I'm really trying to be safe now, not get any damage here as we make a little bit of contact with that new team rival of the 23 car of 2311 Racing, co-owned by Denny Hamlin, as well as NBA All-Star Superstar legend Michael Jordan here now. As we came through down this backstretch now to lap 4, we start to make a little bit of headway now up into the top 35 at least. And I wasn't, of course, wanting to be too aggressive here. I wasn't feeling like we had to get to the front right away now, but of course we want to be up there. But this was like, at this point, my 6th attempt at recording this race, so I was like, I'm not taking any chances at this point here and crashing the car on like lap 5 of 50, because if you total your car and you can't drive it back to the pit lane, your only option, by the way, is to restart at this point in the game. Now, as we came through a little bit later to lap 9 already, you can see full-on pack racing going on here in Daytona. And when the pack racing works, it is quite fun to be a part of, but you'll see the result is sometimes it allows cars to just pull away seconds upon seconds. By the end of this race, everybody will be actually quite spread out. Nothing we can do about it, so we just make the most of what the situation is basically here. As you see myself 3 wide with Denny Hamlin. You got a Rick Ware Racing car there in the 52 of Josh Balicki trying to get up in the mix. Chase Elliott just behind myself, last season's champion now, as we run right behind this 3 wide. I got to the outside wall there in turns 2. A big mistake from myself now, but we do not damage the car somehow. You see me shaking the car back and forth. We run unrealistic damage, and it is not hard to damage the steering and lose some speed in the car after hitting the wall. So I was shaking it around to make sure we were okay. Thank goodness we got a really lucky break. The car was not damaged there. As you can see me now bringing up the live pit stop kind of adjustments thing that you can do, and I was trying to, of course, decide what do I want to do at this point. I was thinking 4 tires and just fill the car with fuel. Pretty straightforward. I wanted to make a slight wedge adjustment as well here. Now, as you see me start to get a little bit aggressive, so what happens is the AI, they pit every 20 laps in Daytona, so they will pit on lap 20 and they will pit on lap 40. So I had learned that in my about 5 previous attempts of doing this now, is actually make a little bit of contact there with Anthony Alfredo. Now, as you see my mouse cursor on the screen, I forgot I should have actually moved that off the screen, so I will try to fix that for the next episode here now. As we came through the lap 16, up inside the top 30, but we hadn't really actually made up a whole lot of ground here, the Daytona 500 so far, giving a big push to the back of that 78 of BJ McLeod, as we're actually going to be able to push him ahead of that number 16 colleague car, another new team this season, by the way, in the Cup Series there, driven by Kaz Grala. So there's a bunch of new teams in the Cup Series, and if we can figure out how to mod this game, you'll see even more new teams at some point in this career mode. Now, as we actually pulled away from that pack, got linked up with David Reagan here on lap 17 into the back bumper of him here. Now, as we come through out of turn 2, we got really tight right there, and we actually hit the wall again and damaged the right side of the car.
Alright, we're in the wall here, boys. How's the suspension?
Not good, not good.
You think you can keep it going?
I can definitely hang on to the pit stop.
10-4.
I meant to say back bumper damage, by the way. We hit the wall, but we actually damaged the rear bumper. But immediately I felt it. We were down on power. I looked in the cockpit of the car, and the steering wheel was pointing a little bit to the right. So we were down on speed right off the bat. So this changed the whole complexion of the race for myself there, just based off that one mistake. So I knew that we cannot take tires and we can only put a little bit of fuel in this car on the pit stop because we need to try and spend the whole pit stop repairing the car instead of going for tires, filling it up with fuel. So this is not the position we want to be in just our first Cup Series race here in NASCAR. But obviously now to lap 19, you can see what we were dealing with. We were definitely down on power, and here you're seeing myself realizing, yeah, we definitely need to just opt to not even bother with tires. I'll only decide to do minimal repairs. I was hoping that that was going to be enough, but you can see the AI just blowing my doors right off here down this front straightaway. So, and only one can of fuel is what we're going to do. Now to lap 20, pit stops underway here now as we're going to get all the way to the left. The 16 of Gralla is going to get dumped by Josh Bilicki. We have a massive accident here on the pit lane. Now cars going everywhere as we're going to barely get to our pit box in time. We of course have to do our pit stop. We're going to get a look at what in the world just happened there on the pit entry for a bunch of drivers now. As you're going to see, just fuel only, and it was only one can of fuel that we put in, and then we have a crew guy come over and start patching up the car, and that's not going to visually fix the cars. At 23, Bubba Wallace just backed up into Timmy Hill, and then I had such an awkward entry that my AI actually runs into the back of the 66, gets stuck, throws it in reverse, and gets back going. So thank goodness we didn't lose too much time. William Byron hasn't had a clue of how he's supposed to pit here. I think I just saw Denny Hamlin actually disappear. He might be out of this race, but a whole lot of issues on the pit lane for a bunch of drivers, and we're going to get a look at what happened here in just a moment now. As I was quickly wondering, is the car fixed? I can confirm it was a little bit, but it was still not very good, and we were definitely going to have an issue here. Now as you can see what happened, Denny Hamlin got dumped there, the 14 went around, the 19 of Truex, they all went spinning, the 21 of Benedetto, and just a whole bunch of cars piling in there. Truex right here got clipped by the 14, who got clipped by the 42, the 77, 43, 21, not sure exactly what happened to them, but a whole lot of issues here on the pit lane there as Truex would get it regathered and back going here into his pit box, and of course get his car some service there with tires and fuel. So now back on board with myself, and you can see me looking in the cockpit. You see the wheel pulling to the right. That is not what you want to see whatsoever, and the only way we're going to get this car fixed is by doing full repairs, but we're going to lose too much time doing full repairs, so I just couldn't do it. So we just have to hope that this car can hang on in the draft with the minimal repairs we got. Christopher Bell comes through in 20th place, and you can see everybody had gotten separated at this point because the green flag pit stop's now halfway through the Daytona 500. Fortunately, the car just barely had enough speed to be able to suck up in the draft here. So we got to the back of the 20 of Christopher Bell here. I definitely was still lacking power, and you can see that because I couldn't stay with the 20, and the 7 was actually able to get up my inside. We had 2x2 going on here still, so there was a lot of action still happening here. And this little pack of cars, some contact there with the 78 of BJ McLeod, Kyle Busch here in the mix, Ryan Blaney pushing me as well here now on the exit of turn 4. But at this point, just trying to make it to the second pit stop and do even more minimal repairs to this car, hoping that it will get us even closer to being able to be competitive once again here. Now, it is nice that Motorsport Games Unrealistic Damage for NASCAR 21 Ignition has made it to where, you know what, you pay the price for damaging your car now, so you do not want to damage this thing at all costs now, and we are paying the price here in just our first ever Cup Series race here now after that jump from open wheel racing from Formula 2 here. So now to lap 33, you can see I was in trouble. I was losing connection with everybody in front of us. Kyle Busch passes Bilicki there, who's way off the pace now. I'm going to come through to the inside here, and hopefully David Schulthouse, who was a photographer for Rick Rare Racing, captured myself there passing that 52 car of Josh Bilicki now, as we would run down Kyle Busch again, actually, as he got held up by Corey LaJoie, who lost contact with that group up ahead of him where he was originally at, and we were closing in on the second and final pit stops on the day. And here we are, still running in the top 20. We're not having a bad day here in Daytona. We're running down this big pack of cars just in front of us now, as we were approaching the final 10 laps of the Daytona 500, but the second and final pit stops underway, this time by here on the exit of turn 4. Actually, I make a mistake right there, getting to the back of the 18 of Kyle Busch. Fortunately, don't do any damage to the front of my car or to the back of him, so it was okay here. I was very careful coming onto the pit lane here, and we get into our pit box, and this time I just didn't bother servicing the car at all. Once again, with tires, we put barely any fuel in it, and we just tried to get more repairs done to this number 99 Camping World Chevrolet there, as the crewman comes over with the saw there and is just going to town on the front bumper. And that was it. We're going to head back out, and this time we don't hit the 66 car, thank goodness here, as we do actually get hit by David Reagan in the pit lane there on the exit of my pit box. But we came out in front of Kyle Busch, but it was just a matter of time until Kyle was all over my back bumper. And unfortunately, those repairs that we made did absolutely nothing. We had gained no more speed. The car wasn't driving any better. We were still in trouble here. So I'm just hanging on at this point for dear life, just bringing it home, nursing this car back to the finish in our first ever Daytona 500 here. Now, as we're still in the top 20, we got linked up here with another Rick Ware car of Joey Gase, and then there was another Rick Ware car of Josh Bilicki. I feel like we're just absolutely surrounded by Rick Ware racing here today. Now, you might be wondering, by the way, what's going on with the rest of the race, not just myself. I want to highlight what's going on for other people in this race. Who's leading this thing? That's the big question right now. We have less than 10 laps to go in the Daytona 500, and I can tell you right now, it was the number 5 of Kyle Larson, his first NASCAR Cup Series race back, and he is leading the way very far out in front of anybody here, all by himself. And it was actually just a matter of time until he found himself in the very same pack of cars that I was in. So we were actually about to go a lap down in the Daytona 500 here in the closing laps now, as we come through to 5 laps to go. And this was Kyle Larson. He had just gotten to the back of this pack that I was in now, as we were surrounded by Truex and a bunch of other cars as well. Some contact there with the 2017 Cup Series champion, but now Larson has got to my back bumper now. At this point, I wasn't even against going a lap down. I was like, one less lap that I have to run with this damage here, and Larson's just going to go around the outside, blow my doors right off there, 3 wide, some contact with Bilicki down into turn 1 now. And look at that speed in that Hendrick Motorsports 5 Chevrolet Camaro for Kyle Larson, who's trying to punch his ticket into the playoffs already in the first race of the season in his NASCAR return here now, as we use that drive from the 43 to thankfully stay in front of that 00 of Quinn Houff to the final lap of the Daytona 500. Kyle Larson out in front. I was actually at this point trying to unlap myself, but just the suck up in the car still not there with the damage that we picked up earlier in this race. But we go this whole race without a caution now. In one of my earlier attempts, we had a massive accident, and then the game crashed, unfortunately, so you guys never got to see it. So that was unfortunate. That actually brought out a caution. Thank goodness. It was about 30 cars crashing, so I would have certainly hoped that would have brought out a caution. No competition for Kyle Larson, who leads the way into turns 3 and 4 for the final time here in the 2021 Daytona 500. I'm going to be able to pass Joey Gase at the last seconds dive to the outside there of Larson. Try to pass him and let myself before the line, but it's not going to happen. Kyle Larson wins the 2021 Daytona 500. We come through to cross the line just behind him, so we were at least in the Daytona 500 winning photo, just not in the position we wanted to be in here now. As nonetheless, 16th place for the situation we found ourselves in, I was pretty happy with there. As you see the rest of the finishing order, Hamlin had a DNF, and a bunch of drivers actually ended up DNFing from this race here in Daytona there, as you see the point standings. So Larson, he's highlighted in a blue rectangle when you scroll off of him. That's because he is now in the playoffs. So that's, I believe, at least what that means. And I think that asterisk beside his name means he is in the playoffs as well, if I am not mistaken there. So that's the first episode of our NASCAR 21 Ignition career mode. And you know what? It was, when the game was working fine, it was a blast. Now the AI, of course, coming into the pit lane is extremely shaky, and they need a lot of work, to say the least. Overall, happy with the performance though we were able to put up as well, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this very first episode of our NASCAR 21 Ignition career mode. Now, you're not going to see 21 as often as Heat 5, and we're still finishing our Heat 5 series, by the way, 3 episodes to go there, but like I said, you're not going to see as many 21 episodes as Heat 5, but you're still going to see it consistently on the channel every single week. But we've got a couple more series that are joining the roster that are going to play a major role in this channel as well, not just NASCAR 21 Ignition. There you see our reputation went up with everybody pretty much, other than some select teams that stayed at about 15% there. But in the next one, we go to my favorite type of racing. We're going road racing in just the second race of the season at one of my favorite road courses of all time, Daytona road course. Now, Singapore as well as Hockenheim and Daytona road course got to be my top 3 for sure. So excited to go to Daytona in the next one as well. If you guys enjoyed, want to see more, let me know, and let me know what you thought about this overall first episode. And of course, before we end it, just want to say thank you to the Going Racing members as well of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Hayes Gaming, Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, Age of Asur, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Dana 9302, Speed Demon 341, as well as Eldis Emery. I appreciate you guys' support so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.